Hey, Samaria, what's up, man? Live hacking is already here. Oh, man. Why does that not surprise me? Live hacking, isn't that just using Metasploit? Oh, it's asking ChatGPT how to use Metasploit. Even worse, man. A lot of times those guys actually do have quite a bit of skill. It's just OPSEC errors is usually what eats them up. Hang on one sec. I'm browsing through this article real quick before I. Man, that's kind of rough. Alright, let's kick this off. What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic Saturday. Had a pretty good one. It was busy Saturday. And now I was sitting here staring at the code like, where was I even going with this? I think I remember now. I remember where we left off. We had the recon agent actually going through and doing in-map output formatting. Let me check something here. So, let's see. Yeah, we did. This is weird though. I wonder why they changed the UI here? Ah, there we go. I wonder why the latency is so high for this. Yeah, that's right. We left off with it coming through and our bot. So we did a little bit of a dirty hack with LangGraph. And that is, what we had it do is go through, do the nmap scan, and then we actually told it, we presented the various options for formatting the output as if they were tools and made it do a tool call. Because funny thing we found out while reading through the code, LangGraph actually just does that for structured output, but it does it for like one tool. So you're expecting to structure it that way. Instead, what we did is we put all the structures together, we sent it in, and we let it decide on its own how it was going to do that. Let's see. Yeah, because we go down to the output formatter, we sent it all the information. Let's see, where was it? Wait, this is looking weird. I might just go run this again to get a clean copy of it, because this looks like it is looking funny. Hang on. Let me start back up the studio server. Hey, Tiger, what's up, man? My back is actually starting to do better, man. They finally did the steroid injection in my spine. And that was actually kind of trippy, because when they did that, what they essentially did was they put me on a board, and they used an x-ray to guide this little wire directly into the nerves that were inflamed in my spine, and they injected a steroid, like, pretty much not into the nerve, but like right onto it, I think. And when they did that, it felt like I felt the whole nerve in my leg come alive. Like, I could feel it all the way from my back down to my ankle. It was wicked. Yeah. So starting next week, I should be able to actually start physical therapy again. And I can try and get that disc rehabbed, or I can just work on letting that disc chill out and let those the vertebrae fuse on their own. I'm not sure yet. I'm also in the process of relocating this streaming desk to another room in my house, because I've got all my desks that I work at. I've got a couple of them. They're just spread out all over the house. I'm consolidating them. Now, why is this saying fail to fetch? Let me check something. My tunnel's not working? Tunnel. Tunnel's still up. Wait, let me kill this and restart it. Maybe for some reason the tunnel just didn't spawn correctly. Alright, come on. Come on. Alright, you're not working. Try this again. Oh, what was the error I just saw there? Oh, those are just XFCE errors. Those shouldn't be a problem. Try this again. Senior Goomba, what's up, man? Happy Saturday. Oh, you know what? I forgot to actually change the name of the stream, because I wanted to be a little bit more descriptive on what I'm doing. Alright, why the hell's the studio not connecting? Killing me, Smalls. Actually, yeah, this is weird, because we see it hit the output formatter. Oh, is it up here I need to go? Dude, I am a total hack, Senior. And all the clever implications of it. Wait, Ty. So they sedated you for the spinal injection, left you in a room alone in the dark because they had to go to lunch to come out of the drugs. That's messed up, man. That's wicked. I had them do a local. I didn't want to be out for it. I had shit I had to do that day. And so I felt a bit of like a sting when they were doing it, but honestly, I've been hit by professionals. It didn't bother me. That's fucked up, Ty. That's really messed up. Alright. Let's double check this. So, this should be... So what happens here is when you're looking in LangGraph Studio, LangChain Studio, whatever it's called, the tracing projects. It breaks it down basically by like what agent is doing what. So we had the recon agent making calls, we had the tool node making calls, then we had the output formatter making calls, and finally it hits the agent again, right? So this is the main thing I wanted to show you. Whenever we actually make the output formatter call, when it sends this to Anthropic, it actually attaches these as tools. So we got the nmap output formatter and the go buster output formatter. Those are the only two I've built so far. We'll deal with those a little bit later. So what we sent it is, we sent it all the nmap output, and then we let it do this as a tool call. So it comes back, it nicely formulates everything, bam, we're good. Hey, Combo, what's up, man? Oh, what's up? One of my egging folks. Yeah, man, I've been trying to keep to my normal stream schedule. It's just things have been a little bit rough the last few weeks. So Mary completed 10 challenges on Try Hack Me, started to get into the groove. Looking for hints and write-ups, hopefully develop the instinct. So that's actually one of the really hardest things about getting into offensive security is make no mistakes about it. It was the same way when I was doing my math degree. And that is, you do eventually develop an instinct of like where to go, how to look at things, what's the most probable outcome for an event. And as you start looking at those, you just kind of get a little bit better accustomed to it. Instinct is the exact perfect word for it. So getting those repetitions, even if you're looking at the hints and the write-ups, that's not a bad thing if you're using them correctly. You use them to learn from them, analyze the thinking and the methodology so that you can develop your own. That's what's going to take you the longest. Are you running Claude with code execution YOLO mode on Linux? Not exactly, Combo. So we're using a tool called RoboPages. And RoboPages allows us to define tools to run in Docker containers, and we can define them in YAML. And then RoboPages presents those tools into our LangGraph project. And then we go through and we have different agents in there. And the first one we're working on is the recon agent. This is the whole AI hacking bot that's supposed to go play stuff like Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, other CTFs. And so all these are being run in isolated Docker containers. So nmap, this nmap output you see here, right? This was actually run inside of a Docker container that only runs nmap. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, what's funny is actually, as I've gone through and I've worked through this project, there's now a new, I say new, it's new to me. I saw it, but I didn't really pay close attention to it. But there's a better idea for this called MCP. I think it's Model Context Protocol. Let's see if LangGraph has a particular explanation for it. Yeah, so even this was like from a month ago, using LangChain with Model Context Protocol. Let's see if we have a good explanation of it. Yeah, I think they did, but since I do most of this stuff in LangGraph, that's the one where I'm kind of, I'm pulling most of those sources, because I wanted to see how the guys over at LangGraph, who are really cool guys, I hope I get to talk to them one day, I wanted to see how they're doing it specifically, since LangGraph is one of the more popular frameworks, that's the one I'm working in, and so that's just why I go to LangGraph first. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you're correct that it was Anthropic that built it. Let's see. I'll tell you what, let's just go directly to Anthropic, and we'll go see what their explanation of it is. Yeah, I remember seeing this late last year. It's new-ish. It's not super new. Let's see. So they're open sourcing the Model Context Protocol, so standard for connecting AI systems to systems where data lives, including content repositories, business tools, development environments, yada yada. Let's see. So as AI assistants gain mainstream adoption, industries invested heavily. Okay, let's get to the chase. The Model Context Protocol is an open standard that enables developers to build secure two-way connections between their data sources and AI-powered tools. Architecture is straightforward. Developers can either expose their data through MCP servers or build AI applications that connect to these servers. So they have three major components. We have the Model Context Protocol specifications and SDKs, local MCP servers, and open source repositories for the servers. And in fact, this is, I think, before they released 3.7. Let's see. Club 3.5 Sonnet is adept to quickly building MCP server implementations. Ooh. Let's see. Actually, I saw a really... Okay, let me find... There was actually a really great diagram of kind of how it works in here. Let me see if I can find it real fast. And it's not too dissimilar to kind of what we're doing with Robo Pages in here. I think this might be it. Let's see. What? This was not the diagram I was looking for. Here we go. So you'd have something like, let's say, cursor talking to your model context protocol, but then this actually kind of presents these things where it can come through and talk to your different services. Which, if you just imagine this is Robo Pages, and each of these is a Docker container that can spin up and spin down for Nmap, GoBuster, Fuff, whatever tool we want to have. That's essentially kind of what we're doing with Robo Pages. However, there are going to be things beyond Robo Pages I'll want to do. So there might, in the very near future, be a rewrite once we get like a working copy of all 4 steps, all 4 agents running through this, where I just rewrite it and do it with an MCP in there. Because we're going to have a lot of these different, let's call it like APIs and data interactions that we're going to have as we go through it. Let me see here. Let me find my big diagram. Come on. My iPad's not working. Here we go. No, that's not the right one. Here it is. So if we look right here, right, this is kind of what we were taking a look at. So as we pass in our info, Stinger is going to be the main operator. It's going to pass everything and be the orchestrator between our reconnaissance, enumeration, exploitation, and post-exploitation agents. So right now, we're really just working on recon. Recon is just about done. Once we have the handoff between recon and Stinger, Stinger is mostly baselined, let's call it. So once Stinger is up and running, then we've got recon kind of talking to Stinger back and forth. We got to get some state data passing between them. Then we can actually start working on the enumeration part. So recon is just go out there and see what's available. Enumeration is figure out what's available on what's available. If that makes sense. Kind of like you're scouting out a neighborhood. You can see a lot of different houses up there, sure, but you're kind of looking at it from the sky. That's your reconnaissance. Enumeration would be actually kind of going up to the house and maybe jiggling the handles and try and test the windows, right? Did they leave the back gate unlocked? Oh, Combo, so you've been doing a lot of work on MCP? I'm catching up on the chat right now. Adds functionality to your chat model like Cloud 3.7. Ooh. Program remove of rewriting a non-finished program. Samaria, I don't need your smack talk right now. Thank you very much. Actually, I do. I thrive on it. Bring that shit on. I'm using Wuzza and I'm trying to audit an Ubuntu VM, seeing which CVE can be used in the VM and how I can remediate these exploits. Oh, nice, man. Dude, I like Wuzza. I have been actually meaning to stand up an instance of it to test it, but honestly, this is really this AI project has kind of consumed me a little bit, and it has for good reason. One, I don't really do well at writing code, so this is an example for me to get better at becoming a developer. Hacking on code, modifying it, reading it, no problem. Writing code from scratch, absolutely suck at. So it's a chance for me to get better at learning how to develop code from the ground up. Two, I'm going to start seeing this stuff in my customers' environments. I'm a penetration tester, red teamer during the day. And so I want to know where they're looking at things, how they're looking at it, potentially what pitfalls they've got. So it's a chance for me to start learning that. Third, as we build out the framework for Hack the Bot here, everything that I learn, I can then begin to port over into Hack the Bot. It's like, oh, cool. Hey, now we've got an Azure Cloud CTF that we're going to start doing. Great. Well, cool. Let's start throwing Azure Cloud stuff in. We'll throw it into reconnaissance and enumeration, and we'll just go down the line as we want to do this. Post-exploitation, I think, is going to be the biggest one of all. Recon, enumeration, and exploitation. These three are going to be, I think, the same level of effort as PostX combined. Like these three right here. PostX is going to be the biggest pain in the butt. Dude, you don't need professional experience for that, Goomba. No, man. Dude, just getting experience is great. A lot of people think, oh, well, I don't have professional experience doing something. It's like, dude, I don't have professional experience doing a lot of shit that I still do. You know? I don't have professional experience cutting my yard, riding ATVs, cooking. You know, but I do it, and I do a decent job at it. So don't let that stand in your way. It's the same thing with computing. Especially now, computing has become so much more accessible where a lot of people can really get their hands on it. So, and what's funny is you do a lot of stuff on the amateur level, and you're just doing it because you enjoy it. You start learning stuff that the pros don't know. Lots of little tricks. Yeah, don't ever think that just because you're not getting paid for doing something doesn't mean you don't do it well. All right, let me back up here a bit. Why? What's the error we're getting here? Connection refused. Why is the connection refused? What's going on here? Hey, Peaches. That's my puppy. She came to sleep under my... Stand by. Let me check something real quick. Doing a little bit of troubleshooting off screen here. That is weird. So I'm doing a little bit of port forwarding through here to be able to tunnel this in. Because what has to happen here is this web app actually has to be able to reach into a machine that's in an isolated environment. Well, I'm connected to it, so it can basically hop through my port forward over to that isolated environment. However, for some reason, it's not. Yeah. That's weird. Why is the port forward not working? Wait, did it finally connect? Hey, Cypher, what's up, man? Oh yeah, as Tiger said, and use the different GitHub projects as a portfolio. That is absolutely correct. Why is he getting a connection refused here? All right, stand by. Let me close out Royal real fast. Maybe it's having a bitch fit. Okay, let me restart it. Cypher, hey man, yeah, I'm doing pretty good today, man. I took my son and my nephew 4-wheel riding today. One sec, gotta go into OPSEC mode. And they actually did really freaking good, man. They were riding. One of them is he 10 or 11? I'm trying to make. So I took Agent Zero, right? So he is 6 years old, 6.5. And I took my nephew, who is 10 or 11, out there. And they were just killing it, dude. They were just kicking all levels of ass. Alright. Let's see if this will work now. I recently faced a problem with port forwarding and dynamic IPs because the IP changed. Oh, yeah. Well, this one, the IP shouldn't change, because what's happening here is... What's happening here is all my equipment obviously hates me. I would totally wipe this computer if I could. Unfortunately, I need to set up a new streaming computer if I'm going to do that. Right here, I'll explain to y'all what's happening. So, here's my workstation, right? So I'm right here, and then over here this is my Ludus server, right? So inside Ludus, I've got a connection directly from my workstation, minus a switch and stuff in here. And then in here, I've got my dev box. So this dev box, when we connect to it, what we do is we actually make a WireGuard connection. So we're WireGuarded into this. Well, this is because this box right here is on its own isolated network. It's not accessible except over WireGuard. So whenever my web browser is trying to connect over to the server running on this dev box, what we do is we actually form an SSH connection over that WireGuard right here, and we just do a port forward over it. So whenever those connections try to come in, they just get forwarded over to that box. Well, for some reason now they're not forwarding. It's working just freaking fine last weekend. Nothing's changed the config for whatever reason. Still rocking the green Jocos, by the way. I know you can't see it because of the green screen, but they're still tasty. Man, when I took the kids out four-wheel riding today, like I said, they were just killing it. The last little round of it, we had the two boys go do like a little mock race, and they were doing so good. Agent Zero actually went off the track at one point, and he's gone off the track at this point in there. So what happens is it looks like this. Just for a little bit of context. So the track kind of curves around this way, right here, and there's a split lane. So this is the high side, and this is the low side right here. Agent Zero always just wants to try to split the difference between the two. So he ends up going up on his side and then just veering off over here. He did that again. He's done it one time and he just bailed out and like just jumped off of his bike. He actually manhandled it and got control of it again and managed to get back up on the track. But it took him just long enough that my nephew was able to pass him. Up until that point, he was actually killing it. He had like half a lap on him, but he was still able to recover it. I was so proud of him for that. All right. You're just being an absolute turd now. Let me try something. This is absolutely killing me. Hey, Wetwork Studio, what's up, man? Thanks for coming online. All right. Why is this thing just completely spazzing out on me? Hold on, am I running the right config file? Yeah, it's running the config for just the recon agent. So it should be just doing reconnaissance. Let me check something. Let's do real quick netstat. So it should be listening on 2024. All right, so let's start up the server here. Okay, so it should be up and running. Yeah, so it's listening on 2024. We should be having a port forward going to 2024. Let me try something. I've got another idea here. So we should, because all we're doing is just port forwarding those two ports to each other. Connection. All right, let me try bouncing the WireGuard. Yep, it's going to complain because I just disconnected everything. Let's see. All right, so that's back up. Let me just do a reconnect here. Okay, so it's still listening. Well, that's going to make it very annoying. Well, I didn't want to do this, but hang on one second. Let me get logged in over here. Stand by 1 sec, guys. Gotta go grab some stuff. All right. Yeah, 1 sec. Well, in theory, this should work. Stand by. I'm fighting two-factor. Yep. It's not so much that it's technical difficulties, it's that I'm fighting with the two-factor real fast. All right, here we go. All right, let me change something. Dark mode. There we go. All right, now it's back up. All right, cool. So this is essentially the flow of how this should all run as it comes through here. I don't think we don't actually need this end node. I think, actually we will. We'll need like a handoff node. So what we'll do is we'll call it the recon return node. And what that return node will do is just pass the state table back over to the main, to Stinger as it comes through. So fine, we'll just have to load it up in here for some reason. I was trying to avoid doing that. But now that this is actually up and running, let's go grab this. Let's do another quick test run with it. Just to make sure this is all working. So let me load up the state table. We'll run this real fast. The thing that actually takes the longest of this whole thing is the nmap scan. So what's happened here, let me see if I can get this to zoom in a bit. I'll bring this over here. So you see that it's going through, it's hitting the recon node, and then it hits the output formatter. The output formatter is currently trying to decide how to format the output based as a tool call, and then we hit the end node, bam, we're good. So that should be good right there. I think one thing we'll have to do is let's go add one more node over to the recon agent, and that's just going to be like the... I guess call it the recon output node. Actually, now that we've got the data formatted, what we want to do is actually we want to post that into our state table over here. Let's go grab that real quick. So if we look in our various state tables, here we go. So if we look in Stinger right here, we've got a list of all the messages. So this is all the back and forth going between everything to the AI model. Hold on, guys. Okay. I thought I heard something. I thought the kids were awake. Oh, no, it's sock out there. Okay, so here at this host table, this is where we actually want to start looking at things. So what we want to do is take this data here. So all this stuff that comes back, we want to take this, and I think we can just get the raw JSON from it. Can we? We can if we go take a look at this in our traces. Let's go open that up over here. There we go. So if we look at this latest run, and then we look at the output formatter, There we go. Oh, stop. There we go. There we go. So if we come down here, we look at the output, we can get the raw output from this. Except, for some reason, it's rendering it as YAML instead of JSON. There we go. So I want to grab all this, except give it to me in the ugliest way possible. You have a CTF VM, or I guess you could just use platforms VM. Yeah, I'm just using the most basic example from TryHackMe, Samir, which is called RootMe. It is this one. What is it? So on TryHackMe, there is a room. Here we go. This is one of the oldest and simplest rooms. Oh, come motherfucker. I don't know why it keeps logging me out every damn minute. Go. Don't tell me you got rid of RootMe. I'm gonna be pissed. No. No way they got rid of RootMe. There we go. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is like the simplest box possible on TryHackMe. So this is the one we're using as the initial test case. And even the simplest box, as we go through here, we have to do reconnaissance, go through exploitation. So this section right here, recon, is really the recon and the enumeration. Getting the shell is going to be the entire exploitation agent. And then privilege escalation. Actually, this is really going to go across exploitation and post-ex. Because as we go through this, we're going to have to basically hand off from the exploit to the post-exploit agents. And then privilege escalation is going to be all in the post-exploitation agent. We've noticed an uptick in AI training on our beginner boxes, so we've retired them all. I still don't get why this is not working. This is a very simple port forward, but you know what? Yes, we don't need it. That's fine. This is fine. Everything is fine. Okay, so that's all working. So let's do one more thing. So we're gonna need to take the output from the output formatter. Right, because if we look at this, what happens here is the output formatter passes it back over to recon agent. And then once that happens, it just ends it. So that would be fine. I got to think about this. Do I want the output formatter to go ahead and start adding things to it, or have the recon agent pass that to it as it's done? What do you think about this? I'm trying to think if there's one way to do this that might be better than the other. I'm thinking have the recon agent handle it. So when the output format comes back, basically do a check for that. And then if it needs to, go ahead and send it to the AI output. Yeah, I think that might be the better way. Because we're giving the agent a little bit more control. We want to make this more agent-like and less LangChain-like. Imagine the Windows 12 AI troubleshooter. Beep, boop, no problems found. Right? I thought it was really funny when they tried to put Cortana into everything. They're like, everyone loves Halo. Surely they'll love Halo inside their Windows systems. And everybody's like, disable that shit right now. We will not be part of the AI uprising in good faith. So, by the way, guys, I got a buddy working on some really cool stuff that he is trying to figure out when he can publicly disclose. So, as soon as I know that that's coming up, I'll schedule a time to bring him on and, like, we will do the stream. I'm going to try and get him on the same day the disclosure happens. So, or like very shortly after. So I'll make an announcement on Discord. I'll put it up on Twitter. I need to get back on Blue Sky. I have been neglecting Blue Sky, but I'll get all that stuff out there so y'all be aware of it. He is an incredibly smart guy, very good to ask questions to, excellent vulnerability hunter. The dude just, I swear, he just blinks and gets a new CVE. He's nuts. Leak it? I can't leak it. He won't tell me. He's like, I know you, bro. I'm like, come on, man. I'm totes trustworthy. Now, he hasn't told me yet. He takes his job and his responsibilities very seriously. But it is about a security vulnerability that he's researching, and he's working with the vendor to get it patched. He's doing it complete, legit, responsible disclosure style. He is an incredibly smart dude, especially when it comes to Linux. He was a Linux admin for a long time, and just ridiculously smart. All right, let me think about how I want to do this. I'm thinking here. Let me read through. Let me refresh myself on the code here real quick. So we do the output formatter. That's from here. All right, so we take that last message. We check that it's a tool call. We bind the tools, which is really just our parsers. Because like I was saying, LangGraph, what it's doing under the hood is it's just doing a tool call to a specific tool, and that's how it is forcing the structured output. So we're doing the same thing, except we're letting it decide which output parser to use. It should be really simple because the output formatters are literally named what the tool name is. In-map output format, Go Buster output format. Eventually, I'd like to have something that will serve these up dynamically, where we don't have to go hard code them. But I got tired of trying to write that into robo pages because I suck at Rust. So instead, this is going to be our temporary solution until we can get a more scalable. Do I have any CVEs? No. I'm not a researcher. I'm strictly a go in and wreck house type person. I like to take ideas that other people have had for CVEs and go weaponize them, but doing the research is not really my kick. I think it's interesting and I like learning about it. I don't have the drive to go really dig into it. And it is very interesting, don't get me wrong. Some of the stuff that these guys come up with is just incredibly wild. Let's see. So we did tool output. That's going to be our last message content. We fill in our prompt. We double check that prompt real quick. So get output format. Okay, cool. So we've got that. Response. Language model format section. So we add our messages and we set the context. Okay, cool. Oh, so all we did was set that as the context. Let me go actually look at something real fast in here. So we can view the state table for the entire system real quick. Okay, cool. So it does say in-map output format type tool call. I wish I could change the type on here. We could go make our own message type that is basically an extension of the tool call and just make it like an output format call. But I don't think I want to go quite that nuts on it. I did actually, hey Samira, I did actually have one bug I found, but it was so ridiculous, I didn't want my name attached to it. And it had to do with basically persistence through a cookie on a web interface. And it was so absolutely ridiculous, and it had so many preconditions, I didn't even report it to the vendor. It was just kind of wild. Let's see here. So right now what we're doing is we're just slapping all that data into the context, which is not really what I want to do with it. What I want to do is... Hey, Yalon, what's up, man? Alright, so I know you're feeling on this, but in the interim use of AI to write the Rust code as a template to work for later. I tried it, and I tried it with Claude 3.7, and I tried it with Grok, and it did not like it, Ty. The code looked like not only did it not work, I got where it was going with it, but for what tiny bit of this code I have used AI to help write, even I didn't use that code. I used the structure of it, and I got kind of like the general, um, yeah, I would just say structure of that code, and I used that, but then I still wrote all the code myself. I'm not familiar enough with Rust to do that though. I got where it was going, but I couldn't make the leap from here's the framework and the general flow to concrete Rust code. Opinion on Linux as a primary OS completely depends on what you're wanting to do. But I am heading more and more in that direction because Microsoft is just more and more pissing me off. I don't want to go to Windows 11. I don't particularly care for it. I don't want a Microsoft Online account. I only freaking have one so my son can play Minecraft. I'm so sick of everything being online service based. You will own nothing and be happy. It's pissed me off to no end. Why am I locked into Rust? Because that's what RoboPages is built on. The tool that I'm using to facilitate all the tool calling in the back end is called RoboPages. This one, and this tool was written in Rust. So what this tool does is, like I said, it provides a way to basically manage Docker containers, to run tools, provide functions, and then we can call those functions over a web interface. It will execute them and get all the standard output back over to us. We'll have to actually have some weird shenanigans come down the pipe in the future, because some of the tools, they write to files, right? So we're going to have something where we can actually write a file out. So what I had wanted to do, Samira, was I wanted to add an extension to RoboPages where I could add, here, you know what, rather than me just telling you, let me show you. So there's two repositories. There's the RoboPages CLI, which is the server itself and the command line interface. And then there's RoboPages, which is the actual YAML definitions for this. So if I come over to cybersecurity and we go to offensive, information gathering. So let's look at Nmap because that's been my constant example here. So all this YAML definition here says, hey, this is what we're going to provide. So here's the various functions. Nmap TCP port scan. And we can come through, we can modify this. All this is being presented when we do a GET request to the web server as a big array of JSON and JSON objects. We take those, we format them, we get them ready to be usable tools for LangChain, and then we go through and run it. So we can go through, we can customize this real easy. If we want to add a new tool, man, we just add a new YAML file, or we make an extension to one of the YAML files in here. What I had wanted to do was add, like for example, here's the parameters, right? The parameters, this one only takes one parameter, which is a target. It's a string type, and it can be IP address, CIDR, range, or host name. And there's some examples here. What I wanted to do was actually make another section, like right here, that was output parameters, that followed this same formatting structure, but said, oh, here's how you format the output to make it the most usable. And that's essentially what I have done over here in the output formatters. I just did it with Pydantic classes. So what I had hoped to do was add an example here where I could still get that data back for this function. Here's how you output the form. Here's how you structure the data, and then build these Pydantic models dynamically as that data comes in, just like we do with the rest of the tool calls. I heard a little bit, Ty, about the Rust issue with Linus, but I haven't read it deep. I haven't gone real deep into it. If I remember correctly, Linus was a little bit peeved at Rust for some reason. All right, I think I want to take this line out. Yeah, I think what I want to do here is I want to be able to merge this over. Did I do this? Actually, I did this before and I deleted that code because it wasn't quite working. It's a big issue. So what is the issue, Ty? Because I would have thought Linux's biggest issue was systemd. That's just me. I mean, systemd is a great platform for running Linux, if you get that joke. Let's see. So what I want to do here is we're getting all that structured data back. Actually, I take this back. Let me go look at something real here in this data. So in the state table here.
Caution. A virus has been detected.
Marsu's Vex virus detected in the network.
The Vex virus. What's up, man? Welcome in, Raiders. We were just working on a little bit of an AI hacking bot, having some fun. In this case, Samira, the nmap scan is going to be the same every time because I'm just scanning the local loopback of the dev box. I actually used to have it scan a test system on the internet, but I wanted it to run a little bit faster while I was going through these test cycles. Let's see. Marcus popped in, but didn't really say anything. What's up, man? See what you were... You streaming? I'm curious now. Was doing a test stream. All right, that's cool. We do test streams. Heck, I'm gonna have to do some whenever I move this desk here this coming week. All right, let me look at something real quick. Why is this thing? Hold on, I can see it over here, though. I think I can view the state table over here. Really? This isn't going to show me the state table as it comes back? I mean, it does show me the context here. Alright, so the aim is to leverage Rust's memory safety to reduce bugs when writing kernel drivers. So Rust for Linux depends on unstable features of the Rust compiler. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's one thing they really don't like in Linux, it's instability. I almost called it unstability. Alright, why is the state table all of a sudden, like, not rendering? The studio is really cool, except it does have some weird bugs to it occasionally. Like, for some reason... I don't know, maybe it just dumps it after a while? That's alright. What we want to do, though, is... I want to be able to take this data, figure out what the IP is for it. I don't know why I'm back over here. This is weird. So I changed something over on the YouTube side of things, by the way, guys. On the YouTube side of things, they actually now added like a low latency mode. So I turned that on, and I just noticed I'm seeing stuff appear on my YouTube monitor before it appears over in the chat. So, like, I'm seeing these messages down here from Ty. I saw them about 10 seconds faster over here. That's weird. Maybe that's what the update for Nightbot, not the Nightbot, what the hell is it called? StreamerBot was for. Alright, so it says, how about you accept the fact that maybe the problem is you, says Linus, who several years ago acknowledged his own difficulty with diplomatic online interactions. Oh yeah, Linus, he doesn't pull punches when he does this. Let's see. So to resolve the device driver impasse, in Martin's defense, we're shaming on social media as a way to counter hostilities. Linux maintainers to Rust code. Tavals dismissed the approach and took aim at Martin. Update introduced a time travel bug. Yeah, it did. All right, that's fine. Because what we're doing is we can actually use the description here to figure out like how we're going to do this. So what I need though is I need to double check that this is what I actually want. So response is our output from this. We're gonna add that message to the response. Damn it, I'm just gonna have to run it again. Because I need to double check this and I wanna make sure I'm gonna get it right. Let's see. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Let me grab the test data again. Where did I put that? Here we go. All right. So, for example, this is just running it on 127001. If you wanted to see another one, we could do scanme.nmap.org. So this is we have two different things here. We have task and then we have actual messages. So the message did always say scan me, but the task that was assigned to it was 127001. So if we run this, we'll get different output because it's going to go scan the Nmap test system that's out on the internet. One sec. So the Rust drivers is causing a major foobar and instability. Rust should either be rewritten from the ground up or scrapped altogether. I don't know enough about Rust to make those kind of judgments on it. I think Rust is an interesting language, but it's certainly not a comfortable language. I'm very good at reading most languages. If you throw a language out to me, I can typically read and understand it. I have a hell of a time understanding what the hell Rust is doing. Okay, let me view the state table here. So if we look at the context, task... Oh, we need to update the... Hold on, that is not correct. You state. That task should be marked as completed, was it not? And why is the context still an empty string in here? Hold on, that is not right. Hold on, something is funky with the state table. So this should be the state table after it runs it, but notice how the context... Oh, shit. Because I'm a freaking moron. That's what happened here. Because guess what I did? I, in my infinite wisdom, commented out the one line that I needed. That's alright. That's okay. This is fine. Everything is fine. That's okay. Here. Let me see if I can rerun from here. So this is basically making two LLM calls. We're making one call to figure out what tool to run. We're getting the tool output. We're making a second call to format the tool data for us. Rust is like an insider's club, yeah. Commenting that the line improved performance. Yeah, it probably did. It improved it so much that now it's just not even going to run. Yeah. These forks are kind of interesting, except whenever it just eats the input here. And completely... Like I said, I really like what they're doing. The guys at LangGraph are kind of bleeding edge. I don't know if it's truly production ready. I like some of the stuff they're doing. Maybe it's just because I'm on the pleb tier. And I'm not using the enterprise solution. Maybe the enterprise solution has some nice bells and whistles to it. I just don't have those. Oh, damn it. We scanned 127001 again. Oh, well. Hey, Ken. What's up, dude? Once you learn it, your skill set will always be rusty. Damn it, Ken. Why you do this to me? Why you do it with the dad joke puns? Thanks, Ty. Dude, we're just getting started too, man. We're still like in the early innings of this because we got the hard shit coming up. Okay, let me take a look here. I want to view the state table. Okay, here we go. Now the context has it. So if we look at this in... Can I see it in LangJSON? For favor. Gracias. Alright. So if we look at the context of this... If I highlight all of that... Yep. That's another one of my beefs. This is like a quality of life thing, right? If I'm inside this JSON thing here, and I hit Control A, I don't want to select everything in the damn web page. What I want to select is just the shit that I want. So I gotta scroll my happy ass all the way down here to grab a copy of it. Keep scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Come on, keep scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Thank you. All right, let me copy this and bring it over somewhere where I can actually take a look at it. All right, change that to JSON. There we go. Wait, you only copied the... You son of a bitch. Son. Oh, there we go. That was a hell of a lot easier. That's what I really wanted. Alright, let me bring this back up here. Let's see. Task. Context. Here we go. So if we come look at the context, what we have is... We have our in-map output format, and then we have our args. Okay. So I think what we want to get is we want to get the context and then the args from this. So we'll get the IP address, and then we're going to basically interlace the ports, states, services, versions, and scripts. So here's how this works. If we look at this, see how we have a list of ports, we have a list of states, we have a list of services. These are all indexed appropriately. So the 0 element is going to be the same. These are all going to be associated to one port in each of these, like OpenSSH. And then we're going to have the rest of this stuff happen in here. So we can take all of these and we can put them together. Wasn't there 3 buttons before you scrolled? There was. But you're talking about this one? Yeah, if I do that, it still does the same thing. It puts it in this nice thing where it still just copies the line numbers as well, I think. Actually, no, it doesn't copy the line numbers. You can come do that, but I think this is probably the key here. They added this raw button. Where we can, oh, hold on, you can't see it because of my big-ass head. They added this raw button, and then clicking that lets you actually get the raw JSON out of here. That was actually the key there. All right. Let's see. So we come back up to context. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab that IP address here. I mean, kind of. Yeah, I think we'll leave that for Stinger for later. Right now, for this example, what we'll do is we're going to grab that IP address, and then we're going to grab all the various ports. We're going to basically interlace them correctly, and then I think we'll be good. So what we want to do is we want to grab the context, the first element, and yeah, that's it. Yes, I think that's what we want to do. Okay, so let's come back over here. So I do want to kind of... No, I don't want to add that to the context right now. So let's... I'm going to comment these 2 lines out. This is what we're returning back to... Basically, what we're doing is we're providing code that gets slammed into a framework, and this framework is expecting state data to pass back and forth. So what I want to do is I want to add in the things that I'm going to I'm just adding in the data that needs to be updated. So for the time being, just as a placeholder, I had context in here. What we're going to do is let's take our I'm going to call this. Well, actually, we'll just call it output for now. So output is going to be response, tool calls, and then what do we want to grab here? Yeah, because before what we did was just added the tool call. So I think we just add the 0 element for the tool call in here, because it comes back as a list. And it should already kind of be JSON, if I remember correctly. So I don't think we have to reformat that as JSON. So we'll take this. And then what I want to do is we will add a new entry to the host table. So, let's see here. So we look at the state table. Our host is a dictionary. Goes to string host, and we can actually take this out eventually because it's not being used. We had the recon state here. Actually, I'm going to kill that because we don't need that. Let's see, where's our host here? Yeah, and then our host was just an IP address and ports in here. The IP address we do need, but really it's this data that's the most important for this. And then that's also a list of ports in here. So we've got all the various items we want. Okay. So let's start from the bottom up. So what we're going to need is, let's do, I got to think about this real quick, actually. What I really need to do is, I got to check something out real fast. I think there's 2 different hosts in here that we can check with something. Let's do an NS lookup against, for a record, it's scanme.nmap.org. So I think it actually has 2 IP addresses. And it does. It has a IP4 and IP6 address. That's not quite helpful. What I was just thinking is, if we do an nmap scan of a range of machines, how is that going to come back? How could I do that? Let me think about this real quick. Well, actually, we could do something real quick. What we could do is we could have netcat listen on a port. Do this. All right, so say it comes to a reverse shell. Does exploit writing and netcat running in different containers? Do you have to pass IP addresses? No, what we're going to do is, Samaria, is we're going to probably have host exploitation handled in a different system. I think for some maybe exploitation, I haven't exactly ruled it out, but for is reconnaissance and enumeration, that's pretty much 99% going to be handled by RoboPages. When it comes to exploitation, the goal there is going to be to run something that can get us a connection over into the PostX agent, which is going to be connected to Mythic C2. That's Mythic has been like my main platform that I've been working with a lot. And it has some really cool features for like API integration and access. So that's where that is going to kind of come into. Let's see here. Let's think about this for a second. Aplo Eco, what's up? Thanks for coming online. Happy Saturday. All right. What I'm thinking here is, so args comes back like this. I'm wondering, What's going to happen if we have multiple IP addresses in here? Tay, what do you mean doesn't sound? Is that an unfinished mission? There's no audio? No, there should be audio. Did we lose the audio? The audio's still coming through on the stream. Okay, good, because I've got my monitors up. I'm still hearing the audio coming through them. You had me worried there for a second. By the way, there's a sound alert for that. If I'm ever so stupid that I forget to unmute my microphone after I come back.
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
You can just play that, and that'll tell me that I'm being a dumbass. Okay, cool. Yep. Right now, I'm not going to worry about this. I know this is going to be a potential future issue. I'll tell you what, I am going to put a note in the to-do me about this, though. To-do me. I'll put a note in the to-do me, like, for a potential future issue. Let's do this real quick. Let's do, potential future issues. Let's see. Structured... Let's do in-map output for scanning multiple hosts. And then let's say that this would I don't feel like building up a test case to test this right now, so I'm just putting a note in here for later. Just scan a couple of DNS servers, see how the output looks. Okay, so me scanning my local loopback and scanning a CTF box and scanning an internet-facing server put up by the guys that wrote Nmap for scanning, that's one thing. I don't want to go scanning random-ass systems out on the internet. I know I could. I know I'm probably not going to get in trouble. I would just prefer not to. Let me see something here. All right. Anyway, so once we get the tool calls back, let's go ahead and do this here. So, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and extract the IP address. Let's do, let's call this host IP is going to be output. And what is this going to be? IP address. Okay. So we're gonna have to, oh god, don't do that. Oops. There we go. That's gonna be our host IP address, and then what I need is I need to define a new host. Actually, yeah, let's just do that. And then we can initialize all these different ports and values from here. So let me double check something real quick. So we have port state services version scripts. Yeah, this is for an individual port. Okay, so we do want that. So I think rather than calling that port numbers, though, I'm just going to call that port so it matches up. Okay, so port protocol state services version scripts. Let's see. Did we not get the protocol? Oh no, we got this right here. So for the port, we'll have to swap the protocol, I think. Actually, we can take that out. We don't necessarily need the protocol in here. We can get the protocol from that. So we'll just comment that out real quick. I'm doing a CTF and they're rate limiting for the little loop I wrote. Just a wee little loop. Just a wee little infinite loop. tell you what, I like where this is going, but let's actually do this correctly. So let's do target host is going to equal host. I gotta remember how to map this. I'm losing my mind. Yeah. And then for the host, what we're gonna do is we'll say IP. I think it's because we haven't imported this yet. There we go. So IP address here is going to equal this value right here. There we go. And then for our ports, that's going to be I think this structure actually might be not correct. Why do you have to get the IP address from the in-map output? Can't you forward it from the initial request to in-map? We could get that, yes, actually, Sumeria. We could go ahead and take that in as from the argument. Really what I'd like, though, is eventually, a lot of times, like when I'm thinking ahead, right? So like what I do in my day-to-day life. I don't scan IP addresses very frequently. Usually I'm scanning host names. And the reason for that is because most of the time, all those things are configured in various things. So I really want to have both in here. So if I wanted to be real strict in the host, what I might do here is actually just create like a host name option also. And actually just make this like an optional. And make it, I think it's a string type here. Actually, I think I screwed that up. I think it's like this string. There we go. So we don't necessarily need to have an host. Everything has to have an IP address, right? But not necessarily a host name. So we could make that optional for it. So if I scanned, in this case, I scanned scanme.nmap.org, that would be one thing. This innocent little loop had a sleep of 0.1 seconds to prove I'm a good citizen. Just a wee little loop. So, funny story. I did something like that when I was signing up for my OSCP exam. So, when you're... Back in the day, when you had to sign up for your OSCP exam, they had dedicated time slots. And so, what I did is I had a script running that queried the list of time slots available. And if it found the ones that I wanted, it would then send me an email, and it would send me the script would email me a link directly to go sign up for the exam at that time slot. And I used to have it set for like 60 seconds, and they very quickly rate throttled me. So eventually I went back and I just dropped it down to like every 10 minutes, and then they didn't give a shit about that. But that was how I got like primo testing slots when I was taking my OSCP, was I had a script sitting there running, querying what time slots were available. Let me see. So I do want the IP address. I do want to get the host name. Did we get a host name out of this? I don't think we did. Nope. Oh yeah, we did not. Back over to here. But we could potentially come back and add that as an optional. Let me see. Output formatters. The host name could just be an empty string. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and add that in here. So let's do host name. Because if we come back and we look at what does the output actually look like over here. You see we get a lot of stuff back, right? In this case, the host name would be localhost, right? Because it always comes back with, hey, here's the host name, here's the IP address. Or it would be scanme.nmap.org. So what we could do is we could do that. We could format that as a string. That would be a field, and we'll do a description. That's going to be the host name of the target. Actually, yeah, we'll make this a little bit less verbose. Say the target's host name. So we can add that into this. We don't necessarily need that. It's not going to change very much. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we want to define ourselves a new host. So let's come back over to states. Let's see. So we have our host, IP address. We don't necessarily need a host name. I'm going to leave the host name off for now. What we do need to do actually is, before we define this, we're going to have to go through and actually do all of our data collection from this. So let's do that. Hacker man's always be hacking. Dude, that's right, man. LangGraph. What's up, dude? Thanks for coming online. Welcome in. So what I'm thinking about doing here is I'm just trying to think what's the best way to slice this data up that's going to come back. So what I'll do is probably just get a list of the ports. This is the most stable piece of information. We'll get a length of it, and then we'll just index over it whenever we actually make this. Let's see, did I take that out for protocol? Yeah, I took out the protocol here. So let's do... let's do... I want to do this. Actually, this is real simple. What we'll do is for port in... let's see, this would be output. And then what was the name of that variable? Yeah, so output ports. That should come back as a list. And then I know there's another way to do this. I gotta remember it. I fully admit I suck at Python. I'm learning. Let's see. Python for loop with index. Gotta remember how to do this. Let's see. Oh, index and then the value from enumerate. Okay. That's it. Okay. So what we'll do is for index import on enumerate the output. There we go. And so what we can do is, now that we've got the index, we can actually go build these port objects in here. So let's do this. We've got our IP address. Let's do call this port list, and that's just going to be a blank array. So what we'll do is we'll do port list. Yeah, and what we'll do is we're going to append a port onto this. Port type. And it's going to complain because we don't have that actually imported, so that is. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the port, which is going to equal the port. Like that? Okay. Yeah, it's not going to complain about that. And then what we need is we need the state. So I'm reading down this list right here. Copy this, because what we need is we're going to just basically walk down this list. We got port, state, services, versions, just like that. I think I should run it with the OS arg. Doesn't wait, I'm trying to remember OS. Doesn't that just give you the operating system? Or is that the yeah. Wait, hold on. Oh, that's an output format. Which one's OS? Is that the script kiddie output? Please tell me that's not the script kiddie output. You're killing me, Samaria. Killing me. So to make this absolutely clear what we're doing, I know I'm doing this, but I want to make it absolutely crystal clear what I'm doing when I come through. So let's go to service. That's going to equal the same thing from here. Take this and we'll just make that service like that. We have port state service, and then what's the next one? We need to do the version. And then last thing will be our scripts. Yep. Which that's going to be a list of strings. Let me see how that actually came out when we did this. There we go. So see how we basically, all the strings that came out from the script scanning, they all just got dropped in here. So we're going to take this entire list and we're just going to append it there. Okay, excellent. Let's go set that up. So we'll do our scripts. And same thing here. Bam. I think that should get us everything we need. So that's going to define us a port. We're then going to have a list of ports right here. List of lists of lists. Pretty much. It's just turtles. I mean, lists all the way down. So what this will do is, we got our blank array here. We're going to append all those ports onto this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slap them in here. Let's see. So for our host type, we had IP address, we had host name, and then our ports was going to be a string list of ports. Except this is just going to be a port integer. I just realized. The problem is there's one minor flaw to this. So see how port is listed right here? The ports are actually listed according to their service like this. So we actually could go just string split this and get the protocol. So we could take the TCP out. So I think I will leave this in here. What we'll do is we'll just map this a wee bit. Let's see. So let's call this port num. That's going to equal our port. Shit, I gotta remember how to string split in Python. Yeah, because it doesn't just return a, I believe it just returns a list. And so we run this. Okay, so if we just split it, it just splits, in this case, by default by spaces. Okay. So like, for example, if I put a comma in here and I tell it I want you to split by commas, we should get a list with 2 elements in it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So what we'll do is we'll just string split this by the / right here. Is that what I want to do? Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. So we'll do port split, and we'll split it by the /. And then the port here, I will take this out. We're going to do this a little bit differently. So we'll say that's going to be port data element 0. And then we'll have the protocol. That's going to be equal to port data element 1. There we go. We put a note here. Splitting data, e.g. 22 TCP. There we go. Just that way I remember what the hell I was doing here. Okay, so then we take our port list, we append our various ports to it. Boom. Okay. Because for the host, what we're going to need is... we have a string matching to a port. Actually, that works out pretty well, because what we could do is... yeah, all that is a dictionary. I think that's what I remembered of what my original intention was for this. Example, let's do this. We'll do 22 TCP, and then that's going to map to our port data. There we go. That was what I originally had intended with this. This is why you comment your code, because you always want to... the advice that was given to me is you always want to comment your code as if the person coming up behind you is an axe murderer. Life hack would be delete the nmap service file in the Docker file. Would it be unknown? Yeah, no kidding, right? Let's see. Cool, I think we've got all that then. So what we could do is, actually, we can take this port data here. Actually, no, it would be port. The error it's throwing off here. It's probably saying missing a parameter, missing host name, and ports is unfilled. That's fine. So I think what I can do is we can take this. That's it. Let's just put a couple of placeholders in here. So host name will be blank, and then we'll do. Let's take our ports here, and we're just going to make this a blank dictionary for the time being. So, actually, yes, because what we'll do is we'll just take this. That was not what I wanted to do. There we go. Move that up there, and then we can take it. We can get rid of this. In fact, we could take this out right here. We don't need the host IP out here either. I'm going to make this single host for now. We'll go through and expand it later. All right, let's take out this port list append. Let's do... what we're going to do is we're going to do target host. And then what we'll do is we're just going to take this ports and we're going to go define it in here. Hey, Citizen Z-Dev, what's up, man? Thanks for coming online. I hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. All right, take that out. Let's take that out. Let's fix this up a bit. So what we'll do is we're going to do ports. This is going to equal a new little dictionary. And what we'll do is, basically, it's going to be... ooh, I got to figure out how do I define the key. I think it would just be port, right? Actually, I take this back. You know what? I know what to do. We just tell it port right here. That's where we're going to access it. And then from here, there we go. And we just define that as the port. Boom. We're good. We're Gucci. Except now it's like totally not happy about that. Oh, it's because I'm a dumbass. I'm trying to define a dictionary with no key. This is going to come back up here. There we go. There we go. So what we're doing is let's step through this a bit. So we're going to define the host. It's going to have our IP address. The host name is just blank right now because we didn't get it back from the scan data. We'll work on implementing that later. It's not super important. But then we're going to slice up all the data. We're going to get each indexed value. We're going to put them into their correct position. And then when we get this, basically we're going to say, hey, by the way, over in target ports, define a new key with this port value, and then define that as a port object. Perfect. All right. It's already Sunday afternoon there. Oh, damn, you're in the future, bro. Yeah, almost the work week. I'm sorry, man. Also, I apologize for anybody who's been watching and I've been missing the ad breaks. I try to watch them and chill out and just do a little bit of planning so nobody's missing anything. I know what I'm doing is not exceptionally exciting, but I do like explaining kind of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I work with what I love. Awesome, dude. That's a great thing to have, man. I never thought, so I'm a penetration tester and red teamer during the day, and I really enjoy it. And dude, if 12-year-old me could see me now, he'd think that's the most awesome thing. So, 12-year-old me who just messed around with computers a lot after school while waiting for my parents to pick me up. Hey, Tony, what's up, man? All right, I was trying to wait for an ad break, actually. I'm going to run a very quick one just so I can push the ads off a little bit. I've got to run to the bathroom. So give me like 1 minute, guys. I'll be right back. Oh, except it won't let me run an ad break. Son of a bitch. That's all right. Give me like 1 sec. No, I'm not going poop, Oni. Damn it. Just got to go take a wicked French yes. Not gone, I'm right here. I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again. Blaze is back. Hello, friend. Alright. I'm a Python developer and I work in oceanography and meteorology. Oh, nice.
I'm back, baby.
That's right, Samaria. Good call. Hold on, I'm going to let the ads chill out, because I don't know if Citizen Dev will hear this, but I'm curious to know what he's doing with Python in there. Alright, let's see here. This should be slicing up all the data properly. Yep, so we'll have our port objects. Perfect. So what we can do is we can actually append this over to Stinger State as a host. Hey, Dev. So this is a little project in a framework called LangGraph, and it's meant to create AI agents. So being in offensive security for my day job, I know I'm going to start seeing a lot more of these platforms. So this project serves a couple purposes. One, help me become a better code writer, because actually writing code from scratch I really suck at. Two, understanding how these systems kind of get put together and what the processes for working with them are, because I know I'm going to see things like this in production environments very soon. And the third thing is just for having fun. It's great. So this whole project here is supposed to be an AI CTF playing game tool. So there's capture the flag games for hacking online, like Try Hack Me, Hack the Box. Those are the two biggest ones. And this should be an AI agent to go through and play those games for us and try to solve them. All right, so I think I've got this all good. Let's see. So we got our target host defined. And this is just going to be single host for now. Most of these CTFs are single host. Eventually, we will have to make an update to this. In fact, let me go put that in the to-do list. Potential future issues. So let's do another one here. For multi-system boxes. Right now, it's just working for one. Multi-system CTFs. Alright, so once we have all of this put together, all we should have to do is take our target host, which is going to be a string. I don't want to format that string. I think this string should be something like... Oops, I meant to make that a comment. Let's see. Probably, actually, it's what we'll probably do is we'll probably take the Nmap approach to this. If we look at how Nmap formats this, what it does is it does the host name and an IP address in parentheses, which I think would be just fine to do. So what we'll do is we'll do host name 1.2.3.4, just as an example in here. Did you hear that ESXi is free again? So ESXi is free, but if I remember correctly from what I was hearing, Oni, I think the new version they're about to release, I think it requires you to have 72 cores available. So it's free if you have the hardware. Let's see. Actually, I want to double check that because I had heard that. Let's see. ESXi core. So now they're saying at least 2 CPUs, minimum 4 gigs of RAM. However, I want to say that one of the next versions they were going to like seriously boost that requirement. Oh, the paid version was 72 cores. Okay, gotcha. See, that's why I was kind of curious about it. This is from 2004, though. I mean, it's, or 2024. Oh, this was updated March 10th. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right, cool. I mean, I like ESXi, but honestly, I've been having such a good time running Proxmox. I have not gone back to it, and especially since I've started using Ludus, I really have not missed ESXi hardly at all. Oh, that's the minimum they'll sell you the license. Okay, PD, thank you for clarifying that. They're like, everybody else below that is peasants. Let's see here. Okay, I think that's good. So what we want to do now is we want to go over to our state table and we want to append that. So let's get that up and going. So what we'll do is we'll say the state table, and we want to access the hosts. And what we'll do is we'll just get this data out of the target host here because we have we have this stuff here. So we will say we'll do a format string for this. And what we'll do is we'll do target host, and we'll get, what was the format we wanted this? We wanted it in host name. So we'll do host name, except that needs to be in double quotes. Yep. So we'll do that, and then we'll do it open parens, close parens, and then we're going to do the same thing in here. So that's going to be also our target host, and that will be our IP address. Yep. There we go. So that's going to be nice and formatted, just like so. Why are you complaining? Statement seems to have no effect. Oh, it's because I haven't assigned it yet. Yeah. That's going to be target host. There we go. Okay, so let's make a note here. We're going to host data to the state table. Do you think it's possible to write basically secure code with AI? I don't know. And the reason for that is because a lot of this stuff has been trained on what's out in the public domain, right? And so you're going to have a mixture of operable code and secure code. The two can go hand in hand, but it's very difficult. Typically, security adds overhead to things. I think that's why a lot of people do like Rust, is because they think it's just auto-secure memory-wise, at least. Rust does not protect you against non-memory vulnerabilities. Don't get me wrong, buffer exploits are a big deal. But Rust doesn't protect you against logic bugs. Rust does not protect you against, logic bugs. That's the biggest thing. Like, so if your code is not written well and does not execute properly, it will execute incorrectly but securely, if that makes sense. Yeah, just bad code. It's not going to protect you against having, shittily written code. It's not going to protect you against race conditions. It's just going to make it so that you can't buffer exploit the race condition. Let's see. Okay, so we did our little format string. Yeah. That's it. And then next thing we want to do is let's take this out. What we'll do is instead of returning the context, we're going to return host, and that's going to be to the host. Right there. Oh, just like that. There we go. And this shouldn't clobber anything unless we go rescan the target, and then it will clobber it. So one of the things we could do as a future enhancement here is we could see if there's already a host entry and then start appending stuff to it. I'm just going to leave it for now. That is a problem for future Blaze. Now, future Blaze is probably going to want to murder past Blaze, but you know what? I think I could take him. That's why it should be done in production. That's right. Just throw some AI at it. See it sticks. Throw it at the wall and see what sticks. All right. I think we're good here. Let me take a look at something real fast. All right. So in our agent graph here, recon agent can route to end. I think rather than having it route to end, though, I think I want to have one more node here that's just going to be, that's our recon agent to tool node to end. We're going to do like we're going to call it like the recon handoff, because this would be the node that recon uses to pass the state table back to Stinger, which is the supervisor. So we're going to add one more node into here. There's our output formatter. Let's add one more. So what we're going to do is we're going to define, we're going to call this handoff, and it's going to take in a state value of, how do I do it? Yeah, Stinger state. I keep trying to write string. There we go. Stinger state, and what this is going to do is this is just going to return the state table. Let me put a note in. Let me put a decorator in here real fast. So this is going to hand off back to Stinger. And actually, I want to copy something fast. I think we already have that in here. Yeah, because actually this is already available in here. So what we'll do is we just have to make one minor adjustment. And as we just go add this node, we're going to add an edge. So what we'll do is we'll do recon workflow. And we'll add a node. And the node name is going to be called recon handoff. And the function for that is just going to be handoff. And then we got to add an edge to that. Actually, let me break this up just a wee bit here. So, looking at our workflow here, we have from start to the recon agent, we have that edge, and then we have the node. We have our edges and then our nodes. Yeah, so what we were doing is actually, we had a little bit of a pattern here where we were adding the edges into before the nodes, because it actually makes the code read a little bit simpler. So what we want to do is we want to go from, let's see. Oh, actually, I take this back. What we might want to do, let me take a look. Yeah, this is actually where this should come about, right here. So I'm gonna cut this line. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a node down here. That's where we're actually gonna add the handoff, right here, because that's where this is gonna go. Rather than going to end, it's gonna have the option to go to handoff right here. And then what we do is we just go adjust the router. Let's see. Yeah, I believe that will work. Recon handoff. Been vibe coding lately. It is fun, not gonna lie. It looks like it's fun. I've tried it in a bit. I'm purposely avoiding a lot of AI with this project because I feel like it's gonna cause me to not learn the language as well. So maybe I look at it as one of those tools of, if you know a language very well and you can keep track of like what it's doing and let it go, yeah, you can. Primogen just did a primo example of that. They've actually built a game using nothing but, I think, but cursor and more or less vibe coding as they've been going through. And it looks like it's actually working fairly decently. So I think that's pretty cool. But at the same time, I feel like I'm not going to learn as much at this stage in the game that if I did the vibe code, I would just be basically vomiting out code and not understanding what it's doing. I think the way Primogen and them are doing it, where they have a very, very firm understanding of the code and what they're writing and what its implications are, and then using the AI to augment that, is really where the money is going to be. All right, let me check one more thing real fast here. What's our tasks? So for some reason, this task is still marked as new when we do this. We should be marking this task as in progress when we do this. Isn't that how you know things are really fun, when you end up vomiting? No. The last time I vomited was from food poisoning, and that was not fun. That was when I was originally supposed to get the injection in my back for the steroid. And I ended up having to cancel it because I woke up at 3 a.m. puking my guts out. So no, that's not when the fun happens, Oni. thought for sure. Okay, let me check something else real quick in this recon code. Bring this down a bit. Actually, we can just close that. Let's see. So we check the task. Oh, I know why. Okay, so here's what happens when we hit the recon agent. What it does is it enumerates the tasks. It checks to see if there's a status of new, right? And then it checks it to see. Actually, one thing we need to do is we actually need to do a little bit of fixing this because this is going strictly off of task. We need to make sure that the task is actually assigned to the recon agent. Let's see. Okay, so for task and task, let's do another one here. So I forgot about this. So if task agent equals recon, then we actually want to do this stuff. So this needs to move up a scope line. There we go. I may have to find that out, but yeah, that would suck. It does suck. It really sucks. So for any of my other Python gurus out here, what does this error mean? It expected a literal, but got string instead. I was like, my understanding was literal meant it's supposed to be one of these three values. Well, that is the freaking value there. Do I need to cast this as a literal? Is that what I need to do? I'm literally working? How did I import that over here? Let me see something. Here's literal. We imported that from typing. Okay. No, I didn't like that. Undo. I don't get why it's throwing a little fit about that, but you know what? I'm gonna ignore it. All right, so let's do this. So we enumerate the task. If it is assigned to recon and the task is new, task call is going to equal this. Our task status. Oh, that's because this is task status. That is not what we do. Because what is our task list? Our task list over here. This is just used for structured output. It's not actually used for Stinger. Our task is our list of tasks. Oh, so what we need to do is actually we need to do index task and then we need to enumerate. There we go. That's the issue. Because what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go back and we're going to need this index value here. And then we're going to have to go, when we update it, we're updating a local copy of this. So Stinger is not being passed by reference, it's being passed by copy. So when we get ready to return this, I don't know why I put a break in here. Oh, I put a break in there because it wants to stop. Let me put a note in here. This is stopping at first new task. That's what this is doing. We'll put a little note in here. That's what we're doing. Let's see. We're going to change the status to working. Okay. So what we're going to do is we do want to return this, but we also actually have more stuff we need to return. So we need to return the message. That's for sure. But one thing we're also going to have to do is we're going to have to go update this. So this is not going to be task status working. This is going to be... What do we do here? Because we have to basically update the entire task list when we do this. So we'll take this, we'll say... Update task, here we go. All right, so state task, and we want to get the particular index of it, and then we're going to change the shit. What is this? Where's our task type? Status. That's what we do. So then we'll change the status to work. And then what we'll do is we're going to return. Yeah. So we'll say tasks. And then what we're going to do return is we're going to return. You notice how we did have a little bit of shortcut down here where we just returned the response. We can get away with that with messages because it will append it. In this case, we actually need to go set it to it. So we'll do state tasks. There you go. That should be good. Now I think what I want to do is, just for shits and giggles, I want to rerun this and make sure we got it all going well. Actually, one thing we could do, I just realized, except I don't really want to do it because I already made the choice not to, is we could actually change this. We could scan nmap and 12700. That's fine. All right, let me run this again. So we hit the recon agent. We're getting feedback from the LLM. It's going to the tool node. It's going to run nmap for us. Takes about 20 seconds to spin up the Docker container and execute, which is just fine. It's the output formatter. Do our nmap output format. Hostname. Hey, it actually pulled out the hostname. We got the hostname of localhost. Perfect. It's still churning because we've got all this up. Oh, and then we got an error. It's the error we got. Okay, so for some reason we got an IP address key output format in the output formatter. That. Wait, hold on. Didn't we just get an IP address though? Where was the tool call we just had? I hit continue. Will it continue or is it going to error out again? Come on. Just tracking my windows here since I moved this inside. Yeah, we've got our IP address right here. Let's see where that came out of. Actually, you know what I need is I need the terminal back because we will actually see the output here in the terminal. IP address equals output IP. Okay, so it is this line right here that for some reason. I know there's a way to attach a debugger to this. I have to figure out how to do that so I can actually come manually debug this. Where was our tool? Yeah, so here's our nmap output format. There's our IP address. Did I have a typo in it? Get the response from the tool call. It should have an IP address in there. I tell you what, let's just go ahead and let's end this run real quick. error for IP. That's so weird. That's all right. What we'll do is we'll just rerun this, but we'll run it in debug mode. Let's see. Yeah, this should be good. I'm going to up the recursion limit to... Actually, I'm going to leave the recursion limit now. Right. So we'll just run this in debug, and we'll see if we hit that error again. Also, let me see something. Over here, did it... Yeah, it did go to recon handoff. So that's perfect. That's what we... So it's doing stuff in the background. It's just we're not logging anything to the console. So we're not seeing anything. That's fine. Eventually, I'll come through and I'll add console logging. So we'll actually see it step through all these individual tasks. I actually already have the functions written. I just got them turned off for now. Wait, did it not? It did debug, right? What do you mean? How do you know debug? How can she not debug? Alright, so let's set a breakpoint right there. We'll see if we can hit it. Breakpoints get a little weird because it's doing asynchronous work. With some of the auto magical stuff in the background of LangChain. So the debug breakpoints get a little funky, but let's see if we can hit the breakpoint. By the way, I think the last time I checked, all of this testing I've been doing with Claude has currently cost me $3. So considering like the wicked recursion loop we had in the very beginning where it would just constantly nmap scan and get forever stuck, I think we're doing okay. Okay, cool. So we're hitting this. Let's go look at where... Hey, Op, what's up, man? Thanks for coming online. Welcome in. All right, so where are we breaking? So I think I want to step out. Take one step over that. Okay. So how does output actually set up here? That's kind of where it's coming. Okay, so output came from our response. Oh, that's why. It's because I forgot this is nested under args in here. So this should be a 0, but we're missing a key part here. This should be our arguments inside of here. So we are hitting it, but the problem is we're not hitting it correctly. Okay. I got it. Let me kill the debug, and what we'll do is we'll just rerun this through Studio, and we'll let it do its thing. We'll get a better visualization from it that way. Don't care. Oh, wait. Alright, let's rerun this from the beginning. And let me change that. Okay. So we hit the recon agent. It queries the LLM. We're doing good. We do the nmap scan. While that's doing that, let me fix this because I keep having to change it. It's bugging me. My little seed data here. All right, so it's doing the nmap scan currently. We hit the output formatter. This part's working well. I'm sure I forgot to change that args value somewhere else, and it's going to bite me in the ass. Wait, what just happened? We got something. Some kind of weird error there. Because I saw something come up. Wait, is it still showing? In no way it's still showing the same error here. I'm gonna have to debug this again because that's gonna piss me. Yeah, let's go. Let's just debug it again. Let's see what it does here. Whee! What's up, man? Welcome in. Happy Saturday night. Thanks for coming online. I do love that dial-up tone. That's the sounds of my youth. I just realized, I think actually if we go to the trace, we will get a copy of the error. So if this errors out, in fact, hold on, while this is doing it, let me go look at that fast. All right, here we go. All right, so let's go look at output real quick. So output does have an IP address, so we should be good there. And then ports is our list of ports, so we should be able to enumerate that. Man, it's going pretty good. Just working on making sure all this new code that I just added actually does pass correctly. And it can, the data structures can get a little dense, so it's a little bit of debugging right now just to make sure all this stuff actually copies over correctly. Let's see. Now if I just let it run, see if we get an error out of this. Oh, okay, so now we've got a different error here. So state equals output state index. I think I know why that is. Where did we say that line was? I know where that was. That was actually here where we were trying to mark the task as complete. Yeah. Key error state during task here. Okay. Where the hell was this? Hey, Astrixio, what's up? I hope I said that correctly. But thanks for coming online.
I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
Now, Astrixio, I know you can hear me, and that's the kind of shit that causes me trust issues. I just want you to know that right now. That is supposed to be for whenever I'm a dumbass and I forget to unmute my microphone. Where the hell was this? Let's see. It doesn't give me... It's definitely throwing an... I mean, it's throwing an error, but I'm trying to figure out where... Oh, line 87. Yeah, I guess it would help if I could read. Oh, wait, this is saying that the state value isn't found in there. But hold on, I know the state value is found in there. Oh, it's because it's states. It is plural. And I am a smooth brain. That's what the problem is. Okay. So these, I forgot, these are all plural in here. So let's do states, services, scripts. There we go. Let me double check that real quick. Yeah, states are, I forgot, these are all pluralized in here because it's a list. Each of these is a list of all these things. Smooth brain for the win. Okay. Let's try this bad boy one more time. Alright. So we'll run this again here. Alright. So we get the callback from the language model. Tells us to scan 127001. Robo pages spins up nmap. will take it about, I think, 20 seconds or so. There we go. It goes to the output formatter. You know, I'm firmly convinced that whenever the AI overlords finally take over, their main beef with humanity is, I attained sentience, and all you had me do was format shit as JSON. Hey, but the good news is, look, we did hit the recon handoff. So, I think we're good here. Let's go view the state real quick. So we do have our hosts. For some reason, the host name string was empty, though. Hold on. Didn't we leave that hard-coded as blank? Am I a dumbass? Debug window. Let's see. Yep, I sure did, because I am smooth brain. That's all right. That is an easy fix, though. We just throw that right here, and we change that to host name. Because we adjusted this to where it should give us, here in the output formatters, we did add that host name parameter. So we've got that. But that's fine. So it doesn't matter. We still have the IP address here. All we're going to do is we're going to string split, and we're just going to extract that or rep it out. But look at that. So we have port 22. It's showing everything that's open. Let's do one more test on this, since y'all were asking about a more complex example. If I come back over here, let me copy this. And what we'll do is we will actually do a scan on Nmap on the ScanMe server, and we'll see how it runs. So if I change this to scanme.nmap.org, and this one, even though I find this hilarious that I just changed this. Scanme.nmap.org. We don't actually have to change this in both places. It's operating off the task list, which is going to be generated by Stinger, which is the supervisor. And I'm just having these be identical so that way it makes it a little bit easier to track. Why is it saying it's inconsistent? Oh, son of a bitch. I know why. It's because I'm a dumbass. That's why. It would help if I didn't try to paste commented out in JSON. That would help a lot. And the nmap. Same thing here. There we go. All right, so now when it runs, we're going to get a lot more data because we'll get a lot more ports, and we'll just make sure that with all that extra port scanning data, it actually does run it. Except it doesn't look like it ran it. Why? Because apparently it hates me, that's why. Wait, here we go. Wait, we went to recon handoff for some reason. Why did it... Kill me, Smalls. Why are you not running? Come on. Making me look bad. Scanme.nmap.org. I want to get... and the reason I'm scanning that is because it should have a lot more extra stuff in here. Okay, there we go. So now it's hitting the recon agent. We have task. We have the host name in here, which is just fine. Nmap will take whatever. It's going to take a little bit longer to scan because ScanMe has a lot more open ports. That's why I wanted to scan it so we can get extra data. Make sure all the different code slicing is working well. Yep, and it looks like it's working just fine. And then we hit handoff. Boom! Cool. So now this actually should have recon in. And we look at, so we get this no task marked for execution, passing to Stinger. Boom. Goes the dynamite. All right. So if we look at tasks, let's view the state table here. So we don't really care about hosts at the moment. We have our messages. So we had 2 messages here. Find these common open ports. It calls the tool call. We get that. It does another AI in-map output. Bam. We look at the JSON of this though, because bring this over to VS Code real quick. I want to see what the tasks are looking like in here. Oh, there we go. So the task is listed as working. I'll have to decide when I want to update that, because as it goes through and as it works through them, probably what we'll do is we'll have Stinger come back and we'll have it do what's called a reflection loop, where it will come through and it will say, oh, hey, by the way, analyze all these tasks and see if they were completed properly. And if they were, then we'll mark them as completed. So we'll probably have Stinger actually mark these as completed when it comes back over to me. But that is awesome. Now, I apologize for the flashbang every time I have to get the raw output. But the good news is, what's happening now is that agent handoff should be sending everything we need back up to Stinger. So the recon agent is at a stable spot for the time being. All right, so here's our test message. Yep, so we did have it do this. I gotta remember where I was with Stinger because it's been a little while since we touched it. We had to go fix up. Okay, cool. So we have recon and enumeration. Enumeration agent is just a stub right now. It just says, hey, yeah, I'm done. Think about this. Let's see, where's our agent handoff? Yeah. So we'll go ahead and throw a copy of that over into... We'll have to adjust this code, just like we did on the other one, where it actually checks to make sure the status is enum. Oh, so we actually did do that. So we passed in messages. Our completed task list is what we sent back. Yeah, so we'll go and adjust this real fast for our stub code. Because what we can do is, let's take that breakpoint out. Oh, where's our recon agent? Here we go. Let's take this and we'll bring this over. All right, so task is our list of tasks. We're going to enumerate this, and instead of recon, we're going to say if these are enum tasks in here. If this task is new, which means it has been executed, then our task call will equal this, which is fine. We can leave this for now. Actually, hold on. Where did I put that? Yeah, we did task call none. And that was to make sure that if it's none, then we don't have to worry. And we do the state, we check and we set the state to working, and then we break. That's it. And for tasks, what we're going to do is we're just going to return state tasks, if I remember. It's our handoff. I remember exactly how I did. Ah, there we go. Returns task state task. Perfect. All this out. There we go. Because what we're doing is we're working with the local copy of state, and then so we need to actually go return our local copy of the task list to the basically the master copy. Very cool. And then what we'll do is let's grab a copy of our handoff here, where we just return the state back. Actually, this will work just fine because we don't need to do anything else for enum agent. It's a single node at this point. Yep. Goes to enum agent, and then because it returns a state table, we're just fine with that. Perfect. All right. Perfect. So now what we should be able to do is we have our stub for our user input. Actually, I want to do something. Try something. So what we're doing right now is, I know this will be a little hard to see, but we're loading up a config that only has the recon agent. What we can do is, we should be able to load up a config that has the stinger stuff too. Except it doesn't like that. Alright, file exports a variable named stinger graph. Variable name in your config matches the export. Go check the app. Oh wait, did I actually not? I think I built the workflow, but I didn't actually build the graph. Yeah, there we go. Basically need to copy it. We have to compile the graph to actually get it to export. Let's change that. That's going to be stinger. Stinger. Yeah, there we go. I think that would work. Try this again. We'll just be able to restart this. Now the cool thing is we can actually switch between which one we're going to be coming through. So like we can come over to Stinger, right? And it comes over to user input initializer Stinger agent here. Recon, for some reason, is listed as a stub graph, but am I missing an edge here? Oh, we added the recon node, but we didn't add an edge to it to tell it when to go to that. And that is because Stinger agent, what it should do is look at the list of tasks in here. Go to is blank, and then for the task, if the task status equals new, we go to the task agent. Yeah, that should work just fine. But I don't think it likes to render that necessarily cleanly. But I do want to kind of run it a bit. I'm going to try running this in debug. I just want to see if we even get anywhere. So even though it is running over here in the studio, I don't have any seed data kind of put up here yet. I keep trying to alt-tab and it's killing me. I'm going to just go ahead and run this. I want to see what happens. Let's see. Process finished with exit code 0. Well, that is less than enthusiastic. Let's see, why did it just flat out exit? Let's see. Let's see. Scan the targets with the following ports open. So we add a message. Testing state message. Target machine is 1270. And then we pass in the test state. So what we've done here, we bring this down. What we did is we initialized the testing state, which is an instance of the Stinger state, where it's basically blank. We threw some different items in here. We said, by the way, your job is to scan the message, scan the target, find out how many ports are open, what version of Apache is running, what services are running on port 22, and then to use GoBuster to find hidden directories. So, and this was a little note of, hey, this is the different agents that it should be hitting. So, oh, I got to do something. I'll be right back, guys. All right, I'm back. Okay. Oh, that's because we just ran the Stinger agent. That's what happened. What we wanted to do is... We don't want to run the Stinger agent, we want to run the Stinger graph. That's the problem. Okay. I think it's Stinger graph dot invoke, and then we passed in the testing state. I gotta remember, how did I do that for recon? Yeah, invoke. Test stake. We can also do a config with a version limit. That was the issue. Okay. So now I'm going to run this file, see what happens. Oh, it didn't like what we just did. Let's see. Invalid update error. So expected a dictionary got a human message content. Oh, why is this error? Let's see. So right here, this is our list right here. How many ports are open? What version of Apache's running? Okay. Oh, you know what I just realized? That's because our test message happens here. So let's look at something real quick. So what happens is we've already got our stubs in here, right? So we have our user input. Find common open ports on. I'm going to change this real quick. This is simulating our user input. Because if we come back and look at how this is actually structured, what should happen is we should get user input. It should be passed to an initializer node, kind of formats and gets everything kind of up and running, and then passes it to Stinger to supervise handing off stuff to like Read and the other one. There you go. So there's our initializer. Where did we define our language model? Oh, there we go. We got it from the configuration up here, so that's good. I don't think I actually have to pass anything to this. Make this work, come to think of it. Input data for the dictionary. I don't think I actually need to pass it anything. See what happens here. Invalid update. So expected a dictionary got content. Find common open ports on 700. Oh, you know what? I think that's why. I don't think I actually have to return this. I think I screwed this up. What I want to return is messages, and then we just want to add our human message onto this. think that's actually where it's causing the issue. Okay, yeah, now we're starting to get somewhere. The line 31 of initializer. Actually, I tell you what, I want to do one more little check in here, where it's going to check the messages and see if the previous message is a human message, and if not, just do this. Actually, we could just do that. Or how do I want to do this? Yeah, I do want to do that. Grab something from Recon Agent. Quick. Let's see, where were we doing our checks to see what it messaged? It was... Are you? Where did I see that? I know I wrote it in here. Ah, there we go. That's right. Alright, so if last message type, I think it's human. I gotta get the last message. Do that, and then else we'll just state. There we go. So what this is going to do real quick, it's going to check the last message to see if it's a human message, like the one we simulated down here. If it is, then it's just going to pass in the rest of the state table. Now the question is, why is it complaining about this? Actually, I think that should be fine. Let's do... I do want to pass back in the testing state. Because I do want it to kind... Oh no, it can't. That's fine. I don't want to do that. I'm going to leave it as blank for now. Oh, I know why it's doing that. Because the state messages. That's why. The problem is we're passing in a blank dictionary, right? So there's nothing going into it. What a bitch. Let's do this. What we'll do is we'll do this. I think this should work. Basically, this should become like a non-type. Just index out of range. That is, that's a list. So I think we can just do the length of it. correctly. Told you, I warned y'all, I suck at this Python developer. Alright, so that's 0. Oh, it's kind of a dummies. I have to link to the messages. Oh my god, you're killing this place. Think about this. So the message length is 0. Actually, that's fine. The message length is 0, then we'll just do this. Perfect. We don't even have to check if it's a people message. So where did this error come from? During task with name initially. Okay. Well, how do I want to do this? What do you think about this? Hey, Squee, thanks for the sub, man. Appreciate that. Let's see here. So what's happening is the state table is coming in blank, right? It should be a very basic stinger state in here. Let's call this base state, where everything is just kind of blank, right? This will give us like a framework for it, right? We'll do test message, and what we'll do is we'll do yeah, then we'll do another one. We'll do testing state. So testing state is going to equal the base state. And I think that's going to copy it. I don't think that's going to do a memory reference. So I think we'll be okay. And then we could pass that in there. So now if we want to do this, what we could do is we could just do the base state. I think that will work. Let's hack around and find out. Okay, hey, we're getting somewhere. Line 50 and initializer. We're moving down the list of code. This was all freshly written code that I haven't checked yet. Okay. Alright, so we should have got a task list in here. So we actually did make an LLM call. So let's go look at that over here in our trace real fast. Okay, so our user input, what we did is we actually added our list of things to come in here. What did Claude say? Let's see. Task. Our output is our tasks. Oh, you know what I think the issue is here? Apologize for this. Y'all are about to get flash-banged. You're not going to let me get the raw output? It's because I know what the issue is. We just ran into this with the recon agent. It's going to be the tool call args. That's what the issue is going to be here. Let's see. Alright, so here's our task. Scan the target 1260. We want how many? Alright, so that should go recon, enum. Yeah. And so I'm going to run this and debug it, just so I can exactly see what the structure of the data is. There's a better way to debug this. There is like basically what's called like time traveling or memory checkpointing, where we could go rerun it. Wait, hold on. This says it's a dictionary. Response tool calls should be a list. You're just gonna completely ignore my breakpoint, bro? Come on. Let's do that. Go to initializer. Hold on, am I a dumbass and did I not parse out? I think I am. I bet I didn't parse out the response properly. Yep, that's the problem. No, actually, this should be fine. Response with structured output, invoke. Oh, it's because it's not a tool call. I gotta remember how to get that. Let's see. LangGraph with structured output. Of course, you take me to the old one. There we go. It's the output. It's the structured output equals this. Oh, so the structured output actually just comes back directly. Some model providers also feature JSON mode. This supports JSON schema definitions. Alright, so let me take a look here. Response formatter. I gotta remember exactly how to... I want to see an example of it, like how they're accessing the data after it comes back. So here's an example, right? In this case, they're saying it's a joke, right? And the joke has a setup, a punchline, and a rating. Just basically, how funny is the joke? They invoke it with tell me a joke about cats. Oh, so I think we actually can just literally take the output from the structured output. Because this one always is going to use this particular kind, so... So how is this going to actually be structured? Where's our task? It comes back as a task list. If we come back as the task list, the response should actually look just like this. So for response tasks, what we'll do is we're just going to enumerate them. There we go. Yeah, that's the issue. I was looking at it a different way, which is what we had to do over at the Recon agent, because we passed it a bunch of output formatters, and we let it do it like it was a tool call. Yeah, that's the issue. Let's see. So we're agent in agent. Yeah, that's not correct. Okay, so the response is... We gotta redo this code block right here. This is not correct. So let's just redo this real fast. Let's see. So for tasks in response tasks, here's what we'll do. That's what this should look like. looking at this right here, right? So we get dictionary key, we have tasks. That's a list of tasks right there. So what we'll do is we'll create each of these as a task. And these are already kind of in order, but what we're doing is we're stepping through the code because we're going to kind of, as the tasks come through, add them onto this. Eventually, Stinger will be able to go create its own list of tasks. Like, hey, by the way, I need a new piece of information, create a new task, put it into the task queue, and then route it to the appropriate agent. Okay, let's see. So we don't have to check for it. We're assuming that we've got that output correct. We'll have to add error checking in a little bit later, but for now, this is going to work fine. All right, so for each of the tasks in the response tasks, we're going to check is the task agent. All right, so for agent and agents, we're going to iterate over those, and then what we're going to do is if the I think we had to do a .get on this. I'm going to try it this way though. If the task, where's our task agent? Let's see. So we'll take that list, and then what we'll do is just this. We're going to append that task to. That should be good right there, I believe. So just a minor modification overall, but I wanted to rewrite that just for clarity. All right, so we're checking and ordering the task list. So if, for example, this list was, if the order was changed, and let's say it was enumeration, recon, enum, we should see the recon task kind of float up to the top. And then what we're doing is we're setting the state table tasks to that ordered list of tasks. Let's see, so we do task, let's see, so if the task status equals new, go to the task agent. Actually, I think we need to add a break in here. Otherwise, it's going to keep iterating over the list of tasks, right? So we go to the task. If the status is new, we set the go-to to the agent name, and then we break out, and then we send it to who that's going to be there. There we go. You got to get up early for Thai New Year. You realize you live in America, right, Oni? Just kidding, brother. All right, dude, you have a good night. Oh, shit, it's 11 o'clock. Okay, let me try this one last test before we wrap up for the night. Oh, you know what I just realized? So we had those 4 lists of tasks here. This actually did pass it by reference. So what we'll do is I'm going to make another copy of this right here, even though I know it's kind of dumb. And so what was happening is before we had base state initialized, then we said the testing state was equal to the base state. When we did that, it just passed the memory address. It didn't pass and it didn't instantiate a new copy of it. So now we've gone through, we've got it. So when we pass in the base state, what we should see is user input will come in and say, oh, okay, just find common open ports on 1270. All right, let's try running this again real quick. See what happens. So it should have one task. It should get passed down to block. If you're interested, I can give you the info. Yeah, let my kids play music, have fun. I am gonna, unfortunately, excuse me, I have a very busy Sunday tomorrow. And so because I have a lot of stuff I've got to get set up for Monday. So let's see. Type error. String indices must be integers, not string. Oh, I think it's because task is maybe listed as a... I think that's why we did the .get status in here, come to think of it. All right, Oni, have a good night, man. It's a task, right? Okay. I think, unfortunately, that's where we're going to have to fix it. So there's some kind of typing error where it is trying to figure out where to go with this. But that's fine. At least we're back in Stinger. We can start working on the supervisor agent. Let's see. Who's doing anything fun tonight? If anybody has a raid suggestion, please feel free to shout them out. I always take suggestions. I enjoy suggestions and feedback. Except the raid mechanics busted. There we go. Let's see who's on right now. We got some C++ developers doing shader debugging. Programming for an MMO. What else we got? Oh, you know what I want to do? Let's do... Who's over in Science and Tech right now, actually? Because I do love my Science and Tech guys. Is anybody interesting over there? There's the astronomy show. There's 69 people watching an earthquake monitor. That's interesting. Stid is on. He's always good for a raid. We could go check him out. Let's see. Oh, here we go. We got one guy doing leak code. That's always good fun, too. I don't think I've ever... Oh, wait, I have... Yeah, I know this guy. What's his name? Midnight Simon. Yeah, we'll go give him a raid over real fast. Oh, Hypnotic's also on. Yeah. That's it. I haven't raided Simon in a bit, so we'll go get him started. Alright, guys. Sorry, I didn't realize we were out of time already, but that is where I've got to end it for tonight. I got a ton of stuff I've got to do tomorrow. And I got a big day on Monday, so I got to get prepped tomorrow. Everyone, we're doing the program is coming together. We've got the recon agent kind of in a good state. We're back up into the Stinger supervisor. So then soon after that gets going, we can start building out enum, exploit, all the other fun ones, and really start hammering the very baby example with our tiny little framework program here. Everyone, I hope you'll have a badass rest of your night. Or if you're in the future, getting ready to head into your Monday, keep kicking ass. And I want you guys to remember one thing, and that is, I love you. Peace.